Welcome to Nasdaq TradeTalks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. We're coming to you live from SmartCon 2023 by Chainlink in Barcelona. Joining me for this segment, we have Tobias Wohland. He's Senior DevOps Engineer and Technical Lead at Deutsche Telekom to discuss how Web2-Focused developers are currently thinking about Web3. It is great to have you with us, Tobias. Welcome to TradeTalks.
Thanks for having me, Jill.
You got it. Tell us about your work at Deutsche Telekom.
Yeah, so as a DevOps developer and as you mentioned also tech lead, so I'm one of 3 tech leads and we kind of we organize the tech streams within our unit. So we have 3 teams which are splitted and we organize these different tech streams. We of course contact different Web3 protocols. We talk to these protocols in terms of technical difficulties we have when we implement new stuff. And of course, what we also do, what's the most important part, we code, we write code to, in the end, build our infrastructure or deploy our infrastructure for Web3. And this then results in, for example, running Chainlink nodes, what we do, and for example, also running, recently we just launched on the graph. And all this comes together that we really want to be Europe's most trusted Web3 infrastructure provider in the future. This is our vision.
What got you interested in Web3 and what's your advice to Web2-focused developers that are currently thinking about it?
Yeah, so actually in 2017 it were the soaring prices back in the days what got me interested in the space, but on a second look, I really fell in love with the idea of building a decentralized, permissionless and censorship-resistant system which everybody can use, and this all together doing it in a global community effort. Because, for example, I'm really interested in Ethereum and there is so much going on Ethereum and this is all distributed all over the world. This is so unique, I think. And also that everything is open source, everyone is so kindly, so helpful if you want to learn new things. And this is how I came into the space and why I'm still here actually. And with regards to your second question, I think as a Web2 developer, you also come into the space probably as a user first. So, and then you experience, okay, you have to create wallets, you have to interact, when you interact with decentralized exchanges, you have this kind of bad UX which is currently really bad for the whole space in terms of that it prevents people really use Web3 how it should be, because it's at some point much worse than using TradFi systems. And also there were these DeFi hacks back in last year, or the FTX and what was else? Yeah, all these meltdowns, 3 Arrow Capital, for example, right. And yeah, so people, I think, will be skeptical or are still skeptical. But as a developer, you're always also curious about technological stuff, and from that standpoint, I think Web3 has a lot to offer, and maybe if you not come as a user but really as a technician and just want to learn new stuff, then people are really curious and just want to learn more. And as I mentioned, communities are very open. So
it is a very engaging community, and we're seeing that on the ground here. But you could also make the argument in TradFi, we've seen blowups there as well. I mean, absolutely, that's just human nature. But where do you see the greatest potential for Web3?
Currently, I think it is about that it's a global, or to be a global, fast, efficient, not cost efficient, but fast, cheap, permissionless, and as I mentioned, censorship resistant, asset transfer system for the whole world. This is how it should be. Currently we have all these kind of different chains, and if this comes together, for example, with Chainlink CCIP, so interoperability, then this will be huge. I really hope there will be more use cases. I really personally like the login with Ethereum thing, where you, for example, you have all these websites, these centralized services where you can log in with Google, with Facebook, and so on. But you can, there is this approach that you can log in with Ethereum and nobody collects your data, which is awesome. And this is another use case, and hopefully there will be more.
I want to go back to the difference between Web 2 and Web 3 from a developer's perspective, from a technical perspective. Is Is the workflow different creating in Web 2 versus Web 3? Or are there any challenges associated with that? Or what would Web 2 developers need to know in order to be successful in Web 3?
It depends. I mean, there is not only a distinguishing between Web 2 and Web 3 because there are so much different technologies. So,
right.
For example, if you are a front-end developer in Web 2, you can also do it in Web 3. It depends. So backends are different. You interact with blockchains and not with centralized databases, not with SQL stuff. So if you're curious and if you're eager to learn new stuff, then I think that's perfect.
You can learn it if you are a Web 2
of
developer.
course,
You can learn
it's no
it.
rocket science. I mean,
well, for me it is.
At some part it is. I mean, for example, if you take zero knowledge proof stuff, this is way beyond me. So I'm also not into that. But you can focus on specific stuff and also focus on stuff which you're probably already used to in the Web 2 space. So technologies are not that different in the end.
What's your thoughts on SmartCon so far? Any key themes that have emerged?
So SmartCon is a really nice conference. It's very well organized. We met so much people. I'm here with a colleague, and maybe also did some business-related contacts, which is super nice. We also met a lot of other node operators, which is actually, I think I saw them the first time in real time,
right.
Most of them. So everything is remotely and distributed. So. That's actually the very nature, right? It should be distributed, decentralized, so that's why we are not in the same office or in the same city or even in the same continent sometimes. So it's a great event, and with especially all these Chainlink updates, I'm really looking forward to the bigger CCIP implementation in the world, talking about this the Swift collaboration is really huge.
That was big.
Yeah. And Chainlink functions and everything they do, and also what other teams do. I just listened to the talk of Gnosis Pay, which is also an awesome product. And there's a lot of stuff is going on, and I'm looking
really
forward.
All right, Tobias, we appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me from Barcelona. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.